Good morning, Hapeville friends and neighbors. This is Dewey. I am at a spot that I find really interesting and fascinating. I can't claim to know tons about it, but I thought that for especially those of you who used to live here who are not here anymore, you'll find it interesting. And you know, I'm gonna flip the phone around because it's backwards, and so it's gonna you won't really recognize it backwards, but where I am is this is North Fulton. There's that little white house on the corner of North Fulton, and this is Parkway that goes down to the park. And up on this hill right here is where Joe Wells Elementary used to be. The sign used to be there, and then parking down here. And so I figured I would walk up here. I've been reading about it a lot lately. I know when I first got here, the building was still here, and they tore it down at the end of 2020. I think it was October 2020 they were tearing it down. And I researched it a little bit, so I know it was opened in 1956 and closed in 1988 as a school, and then they opened it again later as something else, some administration building, and over the years it was several different things. But the most interesting, of course, is the history of it as an elementary school. So it was here from 1956 to 1988 as a school, so 32 years. But when I first got here, I loved looking up at the building and thinking, wow, what an amazing space that is. Here are the parking lot spots. I'm strange in that, I'm not strange, I've just always been this way. I love to come to spaces and I think about, whose spot was that? Which teacher parked here? Who parked down there? Who parked all the way down there? What was it like for all of these houses across the street every day when the kids were coming and going? You know, there were, from what I understand, 300 plus students here. There were probably more. I was reading in the late 80s, so that was towards the end of the run of this school. But it was a community school, and everybody walked here. They'd climb up this hill and come in the front doors that were right about here. What a beautiful day, right? And right behind it is where Hapeville High School, the building, is, but at the time, well, yeah, it was still Hapeville High School at the time. So this sidewalk on the side, I would guess the elementary school was right here. And the sidewalk along the side, I think may have, now it leads to another little parking lot that is between Hapeville Elementary School, which was Hapeville High School, and Joe Wells. But I think from what some folks have told me, Cody and other people, hi Sandra, the little wall here that's still here. How many kids sat up there at lunchtime or whatever, but the school was here, well, was there. And I wonder if the playground was here, because I see pictures of the playground in the Hapeville High School pictures. They would bring the students out and set them on the slide or on the play structures and stuff and take pictures of them. The school was there. I think all this space may have been the playground, or maybe the parking lot was the playground. I don't know. But somewhere between Hapeville High School and where Joe Wells sat, there was a playground out here. Now it's a parking lot. Oh, this is reserved for director. No parking. Anyway, it's so quiet up here now. And the thing that I wonder the most, this is just amazing. This little sidewalk that now goes nowhere, but clearly it was for kids and teachers to go from the school, around the school to back here. I'm guessing that the playground was here. That's going to be my guess. If it wasn't so wet, I'd walk out there and see if I could find any remnants of it, but it's wet this early in the morning. So I'm sure a lot of you have memories from this time, you know. Maybe you sat upon this wall at one point and ate your lunch, or who knows. I look at this wall and I go, why is it there? I thought maybe it's to keep people from going down a cliff, the hill, but it's not really a steep hill behind there. It's a strange place for a wall. Remnants of a fence right there. So, as is the case with most Fulton County property that is here in Hapeville, North Avenue School, this school, the medical clinic that sits empty over off King Arnold by the new library. It was next to the old library. Whenever I research those, it says that at the time, all of these spaces were leased to Fulton County, and that when their original use was exhausted, that the land would return to the ownership of Hapeville. Obviously, that didn't happen with North Avenue School because they kept it a teaching museum. But now this is empty, and it's just so beautiful. And this was originally part of the park, just as well as the school was. This was all parkland that was donated by a man to the city. I forget his name, but he donated all this land, this hill, all the way down into the park and up on the other side. They called it Master Park for years. This was all parkland, and the idea was when the county's not using it for school, it would be returned to the city. Now, I'm not involved enough to know, but I wonder if Hapeville owns this land now. But before the school was torn down, I walked over here, and I'm not going to walk through here now because there's a big old spider web. You probably can't see it, but the school sat right here, and the kids could walk out, and there were these wonderful, right where these people are walking, you can see them. Where are they? Yeah, you see those people right there? They're down by the park. There were these wonderful stairs. I'll go to the other side and show you where they were so the kids could go down into the park. Sherry Wyatt is here, and she says, oh yes, I went to Joe Wells and Hapeville High, and yes, I remember the merry-go-round. I remember the medical center. Yeah, I read somewhere we called it the health center. That's right, yes. Or the health clinic. It's where all the locals, from what I understand, went to get, ironically enough, their vaccinations. But here is the middle parking lot. Which one of your teachers parked here and here? Or which parent came and parked here to pick their kid up because they weren't feeling good? Who lived in that house over there? There's actually a house right over there I'm about to go by and see that a new friend online. I haven't met in person. His name is Cody Rowlett. I guess it's Rowlett. I'd never asked if it's Rowlett or Rowlett. But his mother, Judy, grew up in that school and grew up in that house. My friend Melanie lives there now. But Cody told me his mother was, I think she was the head of the PTA here for a while. Sherry says, yes, we had field day out there, and yes, we got our vaccinations. Yep. Here's the lower parking lot. There was a wooden sign here for a while. Before they took it down, I was hoping to get at least the Josephine Wells part of it for the Depot Museum, but somebody actually stole it. But here's the lower parking lot. And imagine on a school day, just imagine if you were a kid that lived here or here, and all you had to do was walk right across the street. When I first got here in 2018, I didn't know what any of this was, and I was taking a walk, and there was a huge tree right here, just huge. And one day I came and it had fallen. And that was the first example I had seen of the drama of a Georgia tree falling. I mean, it was huge, and it came right across the parking lot here. So there is the Rowlett's home, or the Rowlett's home, I don't know. And from what I understand, it's unrecognizable from when Judy grew up here. But she was involved in the PTA. Like I said, maybe she ran it or was the head of it. I don't know what that's called. The supervisor of the PTA. I don't know. But her son told me that. But that is the house that she grew up in. And it's been remodeled since she was a kid. And here's the other end of the parking lot. A lot of local people come here now and park when stuff is happening in the park, and it's Saturday, so something's probably going on. And here, this house is always kept so lovely, so pretty. Isn't that lovely? Beautiful house. And then this is the beginning of Wheeler. This is one of the duplexes. And then there's Wheeler here. And then Russell is a little further down. And I think that, well, I know that Cody told me that he and his family lived in one of these for a brief amount of time. But this is the only one that faces this direction, which I'm so grateful for, because in old photographs that were taken down here during Hapeville High School times, you can always see in the background this or these houses, and it gives you a general idea of what time frame you're looking at. Hi, Brian. It's my friend Brian. He has no connection to Hapeville, but he's a cool guy and follows my stuff. So this is the corner of what's called Scout Street and Parkway. And I love this shot, this house right here with the old Hapeville logo. They're talking about getting the new logo made. They've been talking about that for a while. It's called Tommy Morris Sports Complex. I'm learning a little bit more about Tommy Morris and who he was. I saw him in the Hapeville High School yearbook. He graduated in the 40s. But the complex is, yeah, I'm gonna have to learn more before I speak on that. But this is Scout Street. And now, on a weekday, this road is very busy and cars are lined up here because this is where they line up to pick up the kids from the elementary school. That is where the Hapeville High School building used to be. But I'm coming around this way to show you where the stairs used to be that y'all would have run down to come down here for field day. So from what I understand, I always thought, oh, those kids probably come out every day on recess and come down this hill and come down here. But Cody and Sandra and other people now have reminded me that usually y'all just came down here when it was field day. So you would have come down the stairs that were right here. I was so sad the day they took them out. I was here and I saw it happening, and it made me sad. And it's not even my town or my school, but I can feel the energy here, guys. I can feel the energy of where y'all used to spend your time. But right here is where you would have come down for field day. I mean, the only thing left is that the dirt is still like this where the cement was. They haven't actually cleaned it all out yet, but depending on who owns this land, like if the city owns the land, with what's been going on lately, more than likely some developer is going to get it and some townhouses are going to end up there. I personally would rather not see that happen. I'd like to see it revert back to park land, because that's never a bad thing. Sure, it'd be a beautiful place to have a townhouse, but it would be so much better if it was parkland and it could go back to being part of the use of this park. Sherry says, yes, oh my goodness, the stairs. Yeah, you remember the stairs. So yeah, maybe you guys didn't come down them as often as I thought because you had the playground behind the school. I didn't know that until a couple of you told me that, but I absolutely love Scout Street. It's so quiet. Now, you know, I think back of when Hapeville High School was on the hill right here, and the original building faced this direction, so kids would come down the stairs and it would be very busy out here. But now it's the back of the school. But even so, cars line up here now to pick up their kids. But what you're looking at now is that was the latest addition to the school. Now it's like 40, 50, oh God. That was there in 64, 61, long time ago. But that was the latest addition to the school. Anyway, Sherry says, I was always on the Trailblazers, and the other team were the Globetrotters, and I don't recall the other. Always 3 groups on field day. No, it's okay. Go on and on, Sherry. I don't mind. To be honest, this is what I do in the mornings just to get my brain out of my own head. That sounded weird, but that's what I do. I love walking over here, and lots of Hapeville High School photographs have been taken on these stairs. So here, some of you might find this interesting. You know, the public pool was here from the late 30s until I think they tore it out in the 90s. I haven't quite figured out that completely when they tore it out, but what's going to happen now, the plan got waylaid a little bit. But what's going to happen here is we're going to get, I'm very excited about it, we're going to get a splash pad for families to come and play with their kids. And what's really clever about it is there is an underwater spring that runs through here. There are spots in the park where you can stand over the grates and hear the spring. That must have something to do with it right there as well. But they figured out a way to tap into that aquifer and use it for the splash pad. Yeah, Sherry says that was a pool. Matina says it was so different. Yeah. I lived in Manhattan for quite a few years, and that's where I learned how to deal with and cope with change, because your own street would change weekly. Businesses would close, things would open, friends would move, and it's painful, but it's a good lesson in learning how to let go and accept the new and to not be attached to what was. It's very difficult for us to do as human beings, because we look at spaces like this and our heart is attached to it. Our heart is attached to it because we came here as kids, we learned how to swim, we made friends, maybe we had our first kiss, maybe we ate a really good hot dog here or an ice cream bar, who knows? But a lot of people have a lot of memories here, so to see it change is hard. So what I like to think about is when this becomes a splash pad, all of the little kids that will be the age that we were when we were young, the memories that they're gonna make. And when they grow up and the splash pad goes away, they're gonna be the ones saying, oh, the splash pad, when I was there, I did this and I did that and I did this. So our, folks who are attached to this, you always have your memories, but now it's gonna make new memories for other people. Another example of that is this over here. You guys recognize the tennis courts because they've been here for years and years and years, but this space right here is now good morning, a skate park. It's really quiet for a Saturday morning. You know what, I'm gonna go up on the hill so you can get a better look at it. And this skate park is another example of, some people going, that's ugly and I don't like it and this is the way it used to be. And I get that. But it's a wonderful addition, and people are really enjoying it. There you go. I can get a better look at it. But there's the skate park, and kids come and enjoy that. And I love to see when kids are enjoying skating out here. Tennis courts are still here. Whew, I'm out of breath. I'm middle-aged, y'all. But I appreciate y'all coming with me. Sometimes I feel a little silly doing this because I tell my husband that all the time. I'm like, this is not my town. Why do I feel so drawn to it? And the reason that is because, I'll turn this around a second. The reason that is because in my own life, I never enjoyed a sense of place because my parents moved us around. My mother moved us around so much, and I went to 13 different schools in like 4 different states. It wasn't military or anything, it was just my mom chasing men. So I never was in yearbooks, I was never a part of anything. So when I come here and I see how there was a sense of community here, I'm drawn to it. So now we are behind, yes, Sherry, I feel that way. I feel like this is now my place. Here is the wall that was in the front of Hapeville High School. This addition that was put on probably in the 90s when they switched it to an elementary school. I think that's when they tore down the original building, the hilltop building that you used to be able to get to. Right over here where this building is, there used to be stairs that went up to it. I've repeated this a million times, but I find it fascinating. So this was the front of the school. And then when they turned it into an elementary, they added all this and they added that. But this has been here since the 60s, and it extended longer that way and had all these louver glass windows on it. And that was the new part of it for everybody back in the day. But hopefully this is enjoyable to those of you who were here before. These trees are not so old. There's 4 of them. I would guess, I don't know when they put them here. It's hard for me to look at a tree and understand how old it is. That was the gym. This was? Thank you for telling me that. Yeah, before the gym, that's right. Before the gym was built back in the 40s and 50s. I think this was built in 61, y'all. I'm pretty sure. I was just looking at a Hapeville High School yearbook, and it had a picture of this in 64. So somewhere between 61 and 64, the gym was added. But before that, the kids had to walk over to the rec center and use that as a gym. I would love to see the inside of it. But yeah, for of the first couple decades of the existence of Hapeville High School, they did not have their own gym, and they had to go to the rec center. There are the basketball courts. And we got this new sign, and I just saw McDonald's and Starbucks pop up on it. Not sure why. Maybe they gave money for it. But this sign just went up last week, because like I said, this is now really busy, and this is where students get dropped off. See? Why? Why McDonald's? That is hilarious. Oh, so these used to be the tennis courts. Thank you very much for telling me that. So those must be, so if those were the tennis courts, then when were those put in? I know they were there in the 70s because I've seen them in the yearbooks in the 70s. Maybe they came along around the same time as this addition. So those used to be the tennis courts. Cool. This is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Oh, there's something going on the field. That's nice. I always like to see that. Oh, they were all there. Thanks, Sherry. All right. Oh, it's the little kids are playing football out there right now. And it's in the sun, so I'm not going to go that way because Papa's hot. So I'm going to turn around and go back this way. I'm on Claire Drive now. Well, I'm glad to see they got a new sign. It must be that McDonald's and Starbucks gave money for that. Do you hear that? Oh, you hear the game? I've heard that on Friday nights, it was a big deal. Friday Night Lights at Hapeville High School. All right, my friends. I appreciate you hanging out. Sherry, thank you for the information and confirmation on things that I suspect and didn't know before. I'm gonna go farming. You guys create yourself a great day. Bye.